wonder of the world. We have from Sri Vanda as well, from Hyderabad, from Gujarat. Thank you so much. Absolutely great. I love that. Now, let's take a moment here to first understand that on a Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, you could have been anywhere else, right? You could have been under the blanket sleeping. You could have been with your family for a breakfast, or you could have just been chilling watching something on Netflix or Hotstar. But you chose to invest your next 2 hours in your learning. And that shows a lot for me. And that is why, before we begin, I want to express my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you for taking your time out and investing in this time in your learning. So I want all of you to please go ahead and type in the chat box, well done. And this well done is for yourself. Yeah, I can see Monica saying, I kept an alarm, right? That is how excited I was. Some of us remember during our school days when we used to go for a picnic, we never slept a night before, right? Because we were excited. And that's the excitement that we bring back today. So thank you so much, all of you, for typing it into the chat box. Now, before we begin, I know you might have like a lot of skepticism in your mind right now. Who's this guy? How is he going to help us with the concept of millionaire? And what are all the things that are going to take place today? So I'm going to help you with each and every one step by step. But before we start, I want all of you to know that what you see on your screen, is it visible? Can you see the slides? Just type yes if you can see the slides. Thank you so much, Chandrasekhar, Vishal, Sheetal. Absolutely great. Thank you. Now, in India, the concept of millionaire has been promoted recently, right? Thanks to Success Gyan and thanks to all the training programs around. Now we are aware to that concept. Otherwise, we knew Lakpati, we know Karodpati. But what is the millionaire concept that comes in? So today, that's exactly what we are going to see. Now, my question to you is this. How many of you, wherever you are right now in your life, would definitely want to have much more money in your life? How many of you want that? Please type me in the chat box if you want much more money than where you are in your life. Thank you, Murthy. Thank you, Sai. Yeah, I love that me with the more explanation marks, right? That shows the excitement and that's the energy. I love that, Dr. Anita, as well. Superb. Of course, says Aarti, right? Great. My second question to you is, how many of you want that money which you're expecting a lot quicker and with a lot of fun during the journey? So how many of you want it at a quicker speed with a lot of fun? Type me again, and the number of E tells me how excited you are. So if it is just ME, it's like me, milega to theek hai. But if it's like me, like what Anupama did, what Sajit is doing, Kanika is doing, Minakshi is doing, that's what I'm talking about. Absolutely great. So if you answered yes to both the questions, you are in the right room today. You're going to spend the next 2 hours with us and you're absolutely in the right session, because this is where I'm going to help you with the step by step method on how you can reach towards your financial freedom. How many of you are excited and ready for that? Type BIO in the chat box, which means bring it on, which means, hey, Abhay, I am ready. Are you ready? Let's bring it on. Let me see. Anupama, Saish, Dr. Ram, Vishal. I love that. Absolutely great. Now, since we are going to share this journey together, I'm going to introduce myself in a moment, but I'm going to help you understand the 4 vital steps on how you can reach towards your financial freedom. How many of you realize most of us are either on step 1, step 2, step 3, or reaching towards the final goal? How many of you understand we are somewhere in between that? If you get it, just type yes in the chat box. So I know you understand that. Yes, thank you, Abani. Thank you, Neha, Shweta. I love it. So this is where I'm going to help you with the 4 steps towards your financial freedom. So stay with us till the end of the next 2 hours, because that will help you answer all this and it will help you closer towards the next step towards your financial freedom. Now, since we are going to spend the next couple of hours together, is it okay if I take a moment and introduce myself? If that's okay, please type Y in the chat box, and Y means yes. Now, I know I'm asking you to type a lot, right? Some of your Success Gyan graduates of some of the other programs, right? So you know that we interact a lot. The energy is always high. So let me quickly check. How many of you have attended any of the Success Gyan programs before? Be it online, be it offline, anywhere. Just type me in the chat box. Absolutely great. Wow. That's like, I would probably say I can see almost everybody typing in me, right? Some of you are saying, no, don't worry. Today you'll get a taste, a glimpse of how Success Gyan conducts its program. And for those who don't know what Success Gyan is, it's the largest promoter of self-development programs and seminars in the country and one of the largest all over the world. So what you see in front of you today is tried and tested, and it comes from the best from the best. So you want to learn from the best, so don't worry about it at all. Yes, Anupama says attending for the first time. Don't worry. Preksha says the same. I'm here to help you out throughout, so don't worry. So since it's the first time, I'll take a moment to quickly introduce myself. So who am I? My name is Abhay Valsankar and I come from Mumbai. So everyone, let's go ahead and in the chat box type, hi Abhay. So it's as if we are in a conversation in a live auditorium as how you would do, right? So just type hi Abhay. Great, Suchita. Thank you, Piyush. Thank you, Tejinder. Thank you so much for all the love that is coming into the chat box. So who am I? I'm Abhay Valsankar and I'm a TEDx speaker and also a conversation coach. I realized one thing of whatever success that we achieve in life, if you can't celebrate it with the right people, it makes no meaning. How many of you understood what I just said? Type yes if you get that. That no matter how successful you are, if you can't celebrate it with the right people, it has no meaning. Thank you so much for typing it in. And to be honest, I do my introductions and I tell people I do this, I do that. But the reality of what I do is for a simple reason because I had a very average relationship with my father. We used to speak every single day, but there was never a connection. It was just as if I'm talking to a wall and then somebody is responding from there and I am the wall again. So we used to speak, but we never used to connect. How many of you know what I'm talking about? How many of you can relate to that? Type R if you can relate to that. That if you have someone in your life that you talk to, but you never connect with them. Thank you so much. Absolutely great. He believed his way was right. I believed my way was right. And we never really saw eye to eye and connected. And it was not until one day when he unfortunately had a heart attack and he passed away. And I was staring and looking at him. And there were so many thoughts in my head that I wanted to tell him so many things, that I loved him, that I respected him, that I wished he was there with me for one more day. And I had to live with that guilt for the next 6 months to a year, every single day, replaying the entire incident and asking myself, could I have done things different? And that is when I realized that we don't get a second chance in life. How many of you agree that a person gone is gone forever? Type yes if you agree to that. And that was an eye-opening moment for me. And I realized that this is what I want to do. And I don't want any other person in the country to go through unfulfilled conversations and live a life which says, I'm okay, you are okay, but deep down, you are not. And that is how I chose to become a conversation coach. And today I'm on a mission to help a million Indians to connect with their loved ones, develop a better relationship, and live a life full of abundance. How many of you think that's something that you would like to have a bite on? How many of you want that? Just type me in the chat box. Thank you. Yes, Payal says me. He says that's fabulous. Absolutely great. Thank you so much. So today, throughout the day, I'm going to share my journey because that's who I can speak about, right? And when you get and when you relate it, just type bulb on in the chat box, which means it's a bulb on moment. I can relate to it and absolutely true. Okay. So let's get started. I've been in this field for the last 10 years and I've trained more than 40,000 participants across 15 different countries and been associated with Success Gyan for the last 2 years. And it's been a very fulfilling journey to see people develop better relationship and achieve their financial as well as good and better relationships in life. We work with clients like TCS, Capgemini, Infosys, the top IT companies, the top real estate companies, and we do a lot of corporate training for them as well. I'm blessed to be featured in over 15 different countries and over 150 publications, including US, including Australia, Dubai, Sri Lanka, for the work that we have been doing. And this is one of the most highlight moments of my career, wherein I received a national award from the 13th President of India, Shri Pranab Mukherjee, for the work that I've been doing in the training and development field. Now, why am I sharing you this? Some of you might feel, Are, ye kya, matlab, is he doing a show off? Well, I'm not doing a show off. What I want you to all know is this, that next 2 hours, you are in safe hands. The person who's here definitely has gone through the system, has achieved results, and that is why we are here to help you because we want you to achieve the same for yourself. How many of you understand that? Type IGI if you understand that, which means I get it, which means yes, Abhay, I get it. This is for me, and that's exactly how it is. And you know what was the best moment? What you see on your screen right now? Where am I looking? I'm not looking at a digital camera, right? You can see the camera is different. I'm looking at my mother who's in the front row and she has a phone in her hand, a 3 megapixel camera, and she has tears in her eyes. She's clicking and she's like, Abhay, you have to look at me only at that point. And when I'm doing that, she's giving a thumbs up. She's looking up and she's like, he'll be proud of you. How many of you realize you want to create moments in your life wherein your friends and family are proud of what you do? How many of you want that? Type I want in the chat box. Absolutely great. Yes, thank you. Yeah, some of you, yeah, all of you are typing in I want. A couple of you said, it's a little too much to type, right? The idea is to get you involved. Otherwise, I can just speak a lecture, but then you will go to sleep, right? So participate. That's the crux for today. So thank you so much, everyone, for typing that in. So let's get started and get a pen paper ready for yourself today. I know you're in the tech world, right? So you would say, Abhay, I have a phone. I'll click a picture. Now, the thing with you clicking a picture is all the knowledge and experiences and whatever you learned today, the lessons, those are stored in your cell phone and it leads to cell development. But when you write it in your own handwriting, it leads to self-development. How many of you would want self-development over cell development? Type SD in the chat box if you want self-development over cell development. Thank you so much. Yeah, some of you might be smiling there. Some of you are typing SD. You're like, yes, yes, this is how it should be. So absolutely great. Thank you. Now, I could see a couple of you typing in voice is low. So I'll do a quick check. How many of you can hear me loud and clear? If yes, just type clear in the chat box, which means that you can hear me clearly at this point. Thank you. So if any one of you are facing any issues with your audio, I would request you to please use your headphones. If you're using so, please remove it and directly listen to your mobile or to your laptop or change it. And I'm sure that you will be able to hear better. So thank you so much for the quick feedback once again. So let's get started. And I have 3 promises for you over the next 1.5 hours. My first promise is that time is going to fly by like this. How many of you agree when you do something that you love, time flies by like this? How many of you agree to that? Type A in the chat box. A means agree. Absolutely great. Thank you. Next time when you see your clock, you will realize, hey, we are almost at the end of the session. Where did the time go? And that's what is going to happen. That's my first promise. And I'll come back to you towards the end and check whether I kept my promise or not. Okay. My second promise to you is that you're going to get a lot more value than what you thought when we started. I know a lot of you might be skeptical today, right? Hey, okay, we are coming in and will this actually add value to my life? A lot of questions in your head right now. Stay with us till the end and you'll get an answer for this as well. And the third and my most important, which is I will help you with your next step. Now, I want to take a moment for all of you to understand how many of you agree the worst thing that can ever happen to you in life is when somebody gives you hope and then they take it away, which means they will show you a beautiful world and then they'll be like, chal, tata, bye bye, and they'll go. And then you'll be like, why did you give me hope if you can't take me towards the end goal? How many of you know that's the worst feeling that you can ever have? Type A in the chat box, which means you agree to that. Thank you. Yeah, Kanika says, oh, yes. It's like, I have been there a lot of times, right? Thank you so much, Pradeep, Sudhir, Jyoti, Girish. I love that. And we are not one of those. Why? Because we represent Success Gyan, right? And they come with a trust that we help you towards your next step. So as I said, today, 4 steps you're going to learn towards your financial freedom. And that's why we are here today. And you let me know towards the end whether you got value from today's session and whether you got your next step. Okay. So if you're ready, please go ahead and type R today. Ready. R means ready. Richa says, I'm missing a satsang today, feeling a little guilty. Is it worth it? Richa, be with us for the next 2 hours and then answer in the chat box whether it was worth it. Because I honestly believe all of our trainings are like the tagline of Ghadi detergent powder. Who knows what's the tagline for Ghadi detergent powder? Let me know in the chat box if you know what's the tagline. Tagline for Ghadi detergent powder. Let me see. I can see some of you are typing in. Now, you may not be able to see chats for everyone else because we have kept it in that way so it doesn't disturb you. But I can see everyone's chat. Yes, Tejal, you are right. Yes, Saish, you are right. Pehle istemal kare, fir vishwas kare. Which means you use it and then you believe it. Which means experiential learning, learning by doing. And that's exactly what we do on our session today. So I won't tell you that, oh, it will be worth it. I want you to experience it and then you tell me at the end whether it is worth it. How many of you think that's the fair way of learning? Type yes if you think that's the fair way of learning. Thank you so much, Tausif. Thank you, Dipti. Thank you, Snehal. Absolutely great. So I want you to have a pen paper at this moment. And as you see on your screen, in a moment you will, I'm going to show you random numbers. And as I said, it's going to be a two-way communication, okay? So you're going to be active throughout. I'm going to show you random numbers which go from 1 till 70, 80, 90, whatever the numbers are. What is your task? Your task is to find the sequence from number 1, then you find 2, then you find 3, then you find 4. Like this, you find maximum numbers in sequence in less than 30 seconds. I'll be keeping a timer at my end. I'll repeat what your task is. On your next slide, you will see a lot of random numbers. They're placed randomly. You need to find numbers in the sequence, which means start from 1, then find 2, then find 3. And in 30 seconds, how many numbers are you able to find? That's my question. How many numbers can you reach? Okay, only in 30 seconds. Is everybody clear what we are going to do? Type yes if you're clear and if you're ready. Get your eyes ready to focus on. Get your pen paper ready if you want to write something, if you want to make a note of numbers. I'm going to set up your stopwatch right now. I'm going to reset it. You have 30 seconds. Find out maximum numbers in sequence from 1 to 1999. You have 30 seconds. Your time starts now. 15 seconds done. Some of you are typing in directly the last numbers. No, I want you to find the sequence. How many of you are able to do the sequence? 5 seconds to go. And time is up. I want you to be very honest at this point. If you can see your 30 seconds are up, I want you to be very honest at this point. Don't give me a fake number just to look cool. Let me know in the chat box, till what number could you reach? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 2, 3, only 1, 8, 7, 6, 5, 7, 9, 10, 12. Great, thank you. Let me take an average. When I look at all the numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's it. I'll take an average for 5 because I could see a lot of ones, a lot of 2, 3s, a few 7, 8s, a couple of 10s and 11s, but majority are in the 5 to 7 range. So let's consider the average as 5, okay? Now, what am I doing here? Pay attention and look towards your screen. In a moment, in the next 10 seconds, I'm going to help you with a technique, with a tool, with a skill set on how you can better your results minimum by 2x. What do I mean by that? If you think you are at 5, I'm about to help you with something that will help you go double X, which will be 10. If you are at 10, it will help you to go to 20, which means I'm openly challenging and helping you to double your performance, go 2x just with a simple input. Are you all ready for this? Type R in the chat box. If you're ready to see your performance go 2x with just a little tiny input of 10 seconds. Yes, everybody is typing in R. I love that. Thank you, Arun. Thank you, everyone. Now look towards your screen. All the numbers that you see on your screen are actually put in 4 different quadrants, which means number 1 is in this quadrant. Number 2 goes clockwise in the right-hand side quadrant. Number 3 is below. Number 4 is on the left side. And like this, it continues so on and so forth. Now I give you 30 seconds. Find out maximum numbers from sequence 1 to 99. And let's see how many of you are able to do that in 30 seconds and what's the number that you get. Ready? Your time starts now. I hope all of you are doing this honestly. You have 10 seconds to go. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and stop. Your time is up. 30 seconds are done. Let me know in the chat box what's the number that you could reach to. 17, 25, 22, 21, 34, 44, 18, 19, 20, 21, 24. I have not seen a single person less than 10 at this point. 24, 28, 18, 21, 24, 36. Wow. If I have to take an average right now, I could easily say that minimum you have achieved is 10 plus. How many of you agree you are 10 plus? Just type me in the chat box if you're 10 plus. Absolutely great. Thank you so much. Now, what does this mean? It simply means one thing, and I want you to focus. If you are willing to surrender yourself to the process, if you are willing to surrender yourself to your teacher and follow exactly what has been said, then no matter where you are, at what level you are, or who you are, you can better your performance minimum by 2x simply following the process. I told you, I gave you an input for 10 seconds, right? And it helped you to double your performance. Imagine what it would be when you spend 2 hours with us. Imagine what it would be to spend 3 days with us. Imagine to have a year long with us. How many of you realize if you are willing to trust the process, then the results will come to you for sure, sooner or later? How many of you understand that? Type yes in the chat box if you get that. Absolutely great. Thank you. Some of you are definitely going to use this technique with somebody else that you know, right? And you're going to check that how a little guidance, a little technique, a little skill can actually help you go 2x, 3x. Some of you went 3x, 4x, 5x, right? From 4, 5, you went to 25. That's 5x within what, 10 seconds? Imagine if you're willing to learn where it can take you. And that's the crux of today's session. You might be a CEO, you might be a student. Come with a hat of learning, surrender to the process, and you will get the maximum out of this session. How many of you are ready for that? Type R in the chat box, which means you are ready and we can go ahead. Absolutely great. Thank you, Lotika. Thank you, Akash. Thank you so much. Now, my question to you is, when you look at this picture, how many of you agree the left-hand side island is more like the school and the colleges and what we learn there? The right-hand side island is more like the career or the actual life. And how many of you realize what's taught in college is not exactly what is required in the industry, and there is a gap in between? How many of you agree to that? Type A in the chat box. Yeah, Divya says true, right? A, agree. Some of you are like, don't get me started on education, right? And that's exactly what the problem is. And that is why these sessions are important, because financial management and financial freedom is not a topic discussed, whereas that is the only thing that is required for you to survive a great life, right? And we'll understand how. So this session helps you fill that gap, the bridge between where you are and where you want to be, simply by following the techniques as what you saw. You follow it, implement it, and then see the result. As simple as that. Okay. So let's get started. Now, to change our life wherever we are, how many of you agree this is the truth, that we need to stop doing what we are doing right now? Because obviously it's not working, right? If things were great and if everything was working, then probably we wouldn't be in the zone. We wouldn't be in this room. We wouldn't be thinking, hey, we want something more, because things were working. There is some issue, and that's why we are here. We want to learn so that we can solve. So how many of you agree, if you want to change your life, get it into a better level, transform your life, you need to understand, you need to stop doing things which doesn't serve you? How many of you get that? Type me in the chat box if you get that. And if you're willing to do so, absolutely great. Thank you. And the second step immediately is to start doing something which will take you towards your goal, right? Doing what you have to do to reach towards your goal. And you just need to start, take one step towards that. And that's exactly how this session is designed for us today. Now, here's point number one. How many of you agree that, again, in college, there are books, there is a syllabus. So you learn a lot from that syllabus for 6 months, and then you go to an exam room and then you write an exam. So it's like learning first, by hearting first, rattobazi first, and then you just go in the exam and give a test. So first learning and then a test. How many of you agree that's how your schools and colleges are? Type yes if you agree to that. Absolutely great. Thank you. Now, how many of you agree in real life, it's exactly the opposite, which means first there is a test and then something happens, there's an exam in life, and then you realize and you learned a lesson from that, and then you realize, oh, this was the whole syllabus, so I should have done this, I should have done that. So in real life, it's actually the opposite, right? That emergencies won't give you a letter. Hey, I am coming to you next week, Friday evening. What are you doing? No, right? It's going to happen in your face. It's an exam, it's a test. And then you realize whether you failed or passed. And then you go back to study and learning, hey, I need to be better prepared for such emergencies in future. How many of you understand real life is a different from what is taught? How many of you get that? Absolutely great. Yes, thank you so much. Wonderful. Now, I'll share my personal story, okay? When I was going through the journey and I was doing pretty average and, not really that great, an emergency struck in my life. And at that point, I didn't have much money in my bank account. And this is what happened. You realize I said something about my father, right? The relationship with my father. And now what I'm about to share is the lowest point of my life. How many of you are okay if I am being vulnerable and if I'm being honest today? How many of you are okay without any judgments from all of you? Is that okay? Can you allow me to do so that we can connect and you can understand better? Absolutely great. Thank you so much for typing in okay. Lovely. Thank you. So here's the thing. When I said my father got a heart attack and he eventually passed away, I was at the hospital and we had to do the payments, right, for the bill. So I swiped my card first and it did not have enough balance. And I realized, what do I do now? My mom is sobbing, she's crying there. My brother is somewhere else, he's taking care of something else. What do I do now? So I realized in my wallet there was one more card and I swiped that. And later when I saw the name on the card was of my father. Now, can you imagine the lowest point of my life when I went back and when I saw I actually had to use his card for his funeral, Because I didn't have enough money in my account. How many of you realize there cannot be anything lower than this point in the life that we live? How many of you agree and how many of you get that? Just type yes if you get that. Thank you. Yeah, some of you are like, oh, no, right? This is not how we should live life, right? And that was the most terrible moment. That was the emergency. It was nowhere planned. And that's when I realized emergencies don't come knocking to you that this is what is going to happen. They come and then your eyes open and you realize this is not how it works. So I remember that day I used his card. It was the worst moment, the most terrible moment of my life. And I decided never, ever will I ever be in this state. How many of you realize until in life you get a smack on your face, you don't grow up and you don't take responsibilities? How many of you agree to that? Please type yes. Yes, thank you. I can see Divyanjali saying this feels awful, right? If I was in that position, you would feel awful. I felt terrible. But you know what was the bright side of such a low side? That I decided never ever again in life will that be. And it has never ever happened ever since then. And I'm now prepared and well prepared for things that are coming my way. And I tell you how I could prepare myself for the next one. So every challenge that comes up, no matter how terrible it is at that point, it kind of is an opportunity for you to become a better person. So it's a learning which was necessary to you, and universe is giving you a slap because it wants you to grow ahead in your life. How many of you understand that? Just type A in the chat box if you understand that. Yes, thank you. Arun says it's an emotional moment. Absolutely true, right? I'm sharing who I am. I'm like naked in front of you here. I want you to understand that this is true. From where I was to where I am today, as I share in this journey, it's only possible following this Millionaire Mind experience system, which I'm about to share. But I want you to get ready for that. And that is why I'm sharing this. The second lesson which I learned is it only takes one decision to change your life around. You know, a lot of people believe, hey, Abhay, if I spend like 2 hours with you in the Millionaire Mind experience, how will 2 hours change my life? That's not possible. If I come to a 3-day program, how will 3 days change my life? Now, understand this. 2 hours or 3 days, that's not the question. The question is, it only takes one moment. The moment I saw the card which had his name, I broke down, and that was it. I could never ever be in that position again. They took that 1 second. How many of you realize the greatest of decision that leads to a transformation actually happens in a fraction of second, and then you take years to implement that. But the decision is made in that 1 second. How many of you get that? Just type yes if you get that. Yeah, thank you, Divya. It does. Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely great. And I decided, I realized I don't know how to make money. And that is a big thing to accept, right? To agree that you don't know how to make money. How many of you here realize you are in a position wherein you feel you have money, but deep down there's a voice saying, hey, you don't know how to make money. But there's a little ego which says, no, no, I don't have to learn. There is enough to pay the bill. How many of you are in that state, like a dilemma state right now? Yeah, if you are just type me, it's an honest space. Nobody's going to judge us today. So you can just type me there. Thank you so much for typing me there. Rohit, Sujata, Ambani. Ambani, I could hear as a name. And if you're in that state, that's a lot of lessons for us as well, right? But it can be for each and everyone. Anamika as well. Thank you for being honest. And that's what it is. I took a decision that I don't know how to make money and manage money. So I'll start investing in my learning for knowing how to make money and manage money. Now, at that point, I was making 7,000 rupees a month. We were living on rent. My parents are paying the rent. My mother is paying the rent. Why? Because 7,000, how can I even put a rent out there, right? I can't pay the light bill. If at all, I have to go to a restaurant, which is like once in maybe 5 or 6 months. When I took at the menu card, I look from the right-hand side and I look at the price first and then I order a dish. How many of you know of the terrible state that I'm talking about right now? Just type me if you know what I'm talking about right now. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of been there, right? Some of you might be in that state. Some of you might have been in that state, and it's okay. There is nothing wrong about it unless you realize that's not the way we want to live our life. If you think that's the way to live our life, then there is a problem. But if you realize, no, it is terrible, and I agree it is terrible, and I want to change it, that's when the eyes are opening. And that's the same that used to happen with us. So I realized at that point, 7,000 in the bank account, and there comes a program like Millionaire Mind, and I'm like, I don't have the money to invest in it. What do I do? So I go back to my family, I borrow, and again, the lowest moment, right? Because I don't know whether this will work. You don't know whether these 2 hours are going to help you, but you invested in these 2 hours. That's the same that I did. And now when I look back, the ask of me borrowing, which made me look this small, which kind of made a lot of guilt in me. How many of you understand Indian culture doesn't recommend us borrowing money from anyone? We are from that belief that I will rather die, but I will not ask for help from anyone. How many of you understand that's our culture, that's our conditioning? Just type true if you understand that. Yeah, thank you. Everybody's like true, 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 me. And I was in the same space. But I realized if I remain there, then I cannot grow. So I borrowed some money, step by step, learn from the best that you see on your screen. How many of you know about Robin Sharma, the monk who sold his Ferrari? Just type yes if you know about him. Absolutely great. Thank you. What a chance to learn from him. From Jack Canfield, the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. Blair Singer, he's the advisor to Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, and he's the master of all trainers, right? Some of you from Success Gyan programs, you might have heard of him from the trainers that you go for. Each and everyone is trained by him, including me. And then, of course, Dr. John D. Martini, who's a human behavior specialist, and he was also featured in The Secret. Apart from him, we have Gaur Gopal Das. We have so many people that we have learned from. And I realized the more I learn, the more finance also increases. The bank account is also increasing. Why? Because learning equals to growing. L equals to G. Everybody, please go ahead and type that in the chat box. L equals to G. Learning equals to growing. Thank you. Absolutely great. Yeah, one of you type, okay, so how much money you have now? Absolutely great. I love that honesty. Don't worry, I will share it with you throughout as this journey as we go towards the end. But I want you to stay with me and understand these little things before I help you with the 4 steps that help you towards the next level. And the third one, which I think most of you agree, that everything around us only gets expensive with time. How many of you agree to that? Just type A if you agree to that. You know, how do I gauge the inflation or the expense around me? When I grew up, my favorite snack being in Mumbai was to eat a vada pav. How many of you know a vada pav? You like a vada pav? You have had a vada pav? Type VP in the chat box, which means vada pav. Yum. Yeah, thank you. Now, I'm giving you all examples which are fun because I believe in fun plus learning. Okay. That's the only way to learn. Thank you. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Absolutely great. I remember when I started having vada pav, it was at a price of 5 rupees. And today it is at a price of 25 rupees. Now, let me know in the chat box, when you started having vada pav, what was a starting price point? What do you remember earlier, maybe 90s or 2000s when you had a vada pav? What price did you start at? 7, 5, 5, 5. Okay, someone said 1. Wow. So that would be like a vintage vada pav for sure. But I'm sure 5 paise, 10 paise. Yes, it is absolutely great. Thank you. Now imagine this. Starting from 5 rupees to a 25 rupees, that's 5 times what things have grown over the last 15 years, right? Now, my question to you is, have your salaries also increased 5 times in the last 5 years, in the last 10 years? That's very difficult, right? How many of you think the answer is no? Yeah, it's no. Absolutely great. Thank you. Some of you are saying, can we speak in Hindi? I'll give most examples in English since this session is in English. But in between, I'll give you a little Hindi example, so don't worry as well, right? Absolutely great. Thank you. Yeah, the dhania patti for half kg free to now 10 rupees or 20 rupees per 100 or 200 grams. I know, right? Things have changed and inflation, it's only going to increase. So this is the emergency that is going to come. Are you prepared for it? And how do you prepare for it? Using the systems which I'm about to tell you. So here's step number 1. Everybody write this down in your book right now. Very, very important. 4 steps for today, and then the session is done. Step number 1, absolutely crucial, your awareness. Where you are, why are you at that point where you are? Whichever point you are in, if you're doing well, why do you think you're doing well? If you're doing wrong, why do you think you're doing wrong? That awareness helps you to go to the next level. Otherwise, unless I know what I have to change, how will I change? As simple as that. How many of you realize you can only change what you can measure? If you get that, type IGI in the chat box, which means I get it, which means yes, I can only change what I can measure. So awareness is number 1. Now let's take a moment and understand, why are we the way we are? Which means, why is Ravindra the way Ravindra is? Why is Lakshmi the way Lakshmi is? Why is Harvinder, Chandresh, Abhay the way we are? What's the reason? Let's look at this right now on your screen. I'm going to play a video, and it is very simple as what you see on your screen right now. You need to count how many number of times or how many successful passes have the players in white t-shirt done when they are passing the basketball to each other. So I'll tell you once again, just listen to this carefully. The video that you see right now, you will see people who are wearing black t-shirt. You will see people who are wearing white t-shirt. Your focus is, you need to count the number of times the basketball has successfully passed from white t-shirt guy to another white t-shirt guy. That's what you need to do. Count the number of passes that have been done in this video. Now, A pass is only complete if it reaches the other person's hand. So if it is there at the top, then it's not going to work out. Okay. So everybody, the focus on your screen, and let's see how many passes have the white t-shirt people done in this video. See, focus and tell me what's the answer at the end.
Count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball. How many passes did you count?
Okay, so let me know in the chat box what's the answer. For those who are doing it honestly, just type it in 11, 11, 13, 13, 14, 15, 16, 10, 10, 12, 12. Oh, I love it. Absolutely great. Love the energy. Good focus. Let's see what's the answer.
The correct answer is 15.
Okay, how many of you got 15? Please go ahead and type 15 if you did so. And a big congratulations for each and every one of you who got this. Very well done. Absolutely great. Thank you. Now, stay focused and look onto the screen and be very honest. Again, don't answer because you want to just look cool and, oh, no, I got it. I want you to be honest. And that is what will help you to learn. Here's a question on screen.
Passes. But
did you see a gorilla in the video? Type no if you didn't, type yes if you did, but be very honest. Don't try to fake your answer here. I can see a few yes and a lot of no's coming in, right? No. What gorilla? What gorilla? No gorilla, right? Let's see what happened in the video. Your eyes on the screen.
do you see the gorilla?
Now some of you are seeing it. Now, how many of you see the gorilla in the video? Oh, now you're like, what? Was he seriously there in the first video itself? How many of you have that as a question, right? If you right now had a bulb on moment, type wow in the chat box. If you are honest and you did not see the gorilla at the first attempt and now you did and you're like, wow, that's crazy. That cannot happen. How many of you think it's a bulb on moment? Type wow. Absolutely great. That's crazy, right? Thank you so much. Now, why am I sharing you this? Observe this carefully. How many of you this has happened to you that a lot of time when you're focusing on only one thing, the other things are something that you actually don't see, which means if you bought a new car, which is say a Toyota Innova as an example, suddenly on street, you will start to see a Toyota Innova. You will kind of not see other cars and you'll only see Toyota Innova only now. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Type yes if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, thank you. Absolutely great, right? And that's how it is. Now, I want you to understand it is the way that we have been thinking, the way we have been programmed, the conditioning that we have been given. I said focus on the white t-shirt people only, and your focus was there. And that's how you could never ever see a gorilla, which was actually there. Now, what has that to do with the financial or the bank account balance in my life, right? I will tell you right now in the next slide. Here's my question to you. Were you born knowing how to handle money, or it is something that you can actually learn? What's the answer? Type born or type learn if you think what's the answer. B or L. Yeah, learn. Absolutely great, right? Nobody is born knowing how to manage money. It's a task or it's a skill which can be learned. And the problem with us is why we didn't see a gorilla, because I never mentioned to look out for gorilla, right? I only mentioned look out for white t-shirt people passing the ball. So you were only looking like that from a vision like this, a tunnel vision. But you realize that the opportunity or the gorilla or the success is actually out of the vision that you have. How many of you understood what I just said right now? Type me in the chat box. And if there's a bulb on moment, you can type bulb on. If you think it's wow, it's like an eureka moment, then you can go ahead and do that as well. Because trust me, it takes years to understand this. And I'm going to help you with simple examples to get it clear. Thank you so much. Absolutely great. Yeah, one of you said, please repeat. It's very simple. Whatever I told you before the video was the conditioning that I gave you, and you only followed the conditioning. Whereas you can see the result was actually different if you had an awareness or you had an open mind. And what do I mean when I say that? When it comes to our point of money and balance in our account, it goes something like this. When we were growing up, people around our parents, most of us in our life, our grandparents, our parents, our friends, they are a blessing to us. How many of you agree to that? That your parents, your friends, your grandparents, your family are a blessing to you. You are what you are because of your family. How many of you agree to that? Just type yes if you think they are the best and you're so blessed to have them in your life. Just type yes if it's so. Absolutely great. Thank you. Now, I'm going to share a truth bomb with you. Now, what's a truth bomb? A truth bomb is something that might hurt, but you realize, it is the truth, no matter how difficult it is. Are you ready for a truth bomb? Just go ahead and type yes if you're ready for a truth bomb. Absolutely great. Thank you. Now, no matter how wonderful the people are around us, our parents, our grandparents, our family, our friends, listen to this carefully, a truth bomb. The reason why where you are today is also because of them. As simple as that. Now, some of you are like, no, 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 it's because of me. It's not because of them. They're good people. I'm not saying they're not good people, but I want you to understand this. My father, when I was growing up in my family, he said, Abhay, in life, always stay away from three W's. Can everybody type WWW in the chat box? Don't worry, it's not the internet. He did not have a prophecy that, internet will come in eventually. No, thank you so much for typing WWW. He said three things. Abhay, stay away from three W's in life. And he said it every single time, right from the age that I was 5 till the age that I was 18, and then eventually in my college life. Three W's. You know what were the three W's? Thank you. One of you have answered. Number one, the first W was wine, that stay away from alcohol. And I was like, agreed, done, accepted. Second was women. He said, stay away from multiple series of women, okay? Don't be that person who does it. You can stay loyal to one, but don't run behind every woman. So that was the second W. I was like, okay, accepted. These two things, absolutely great. And till date, I have a lot of gratitude and love for him for teaching that, because I don't do all these things right now. But then came the third W. And the third W was wealth. Can everybody please type wealth in the chat box? Wealth. And you know what the little problem with this was? Right from my childhood till the moment I started earning money, whenever a lot of money is coming my way, I'm actually deflecting it, saying, no, no, I don't want wealth. Why? Because I've been conditioned that stay away from wealth. So I've kind of self-sabotaging myself. How many of you understood a truth bomb which I've just shared with you right now? Type me in the chat box if you understood what I've just said. Absolutely great. Wonderful. So no matter how great you are or whether you are not, it is due to the conditioning that we have, right? And the good and bad comes with it, which is absolutely a part of it. Thank you. Rakhi says, I'm a victim of parental abuse. I carry a lot from my childhood. We all do. So I'm saying this again, they are a blessing to us, but sometimes their limitation becomes our limitation. My mother is afraid of dogs. I become afraid of dogs. Why? Because I've been conditioned in that way. Now, I want to ask you this question. What is your mother tongue? Let me know in the chat box. What is your mother tongue? What language did you speak at home when you were growing up? Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Hindi, Kannada, Bengali, Tamil, Awadhi, Urdu. Absolutely great. Marathi. Thank you. My question to you is Marwadi as well. Thank you. Great. This language which you just mentioned, did you actually write it in school 100 times and then you started learning? Was it school or was it your family? Who taught you? Is it school? Type S or type F. F means family, S means school. Who taught you? Family, 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 family. Absolutely great. So if the family around can condition you to speak a language, how many of you realize the family around can condition you, your relationship with money, how to deal with money? How many of you realize they can have the same influence when it comes to money as well? Type yes if you understand that. Absolutely great. Thank you so much. And here's what it is, okay? Now, I want you to be honest here. The moment I say money, what are the thoughts that come in your head about money? When you were growing up, what did you hear from your parents? Type it out in the chat box. What were the thoughts? Money, corruption, evil, fear. Yes, you can write the sentence as well. My favorite was, पैसे क्या पेड़ पर उगते हैं? Do you think money grows on the trees? How many of you have heard that as well? You can type I if you have heard that. Yes, hard work. Yeah, money always comes in hard work. Then what else? Save money always. Yeah, you have to work hard to get money. Jitne hai kafi hai. What you have right now is enough. Don't go for too much money. Money is the root cause of evil. No substitute. It's a difficult to earn, right? Yeah, it's very difficult to earn money. Tum jao, tumhe pata chalega. You go, you will realize how difficult it is. Freedom, yeah. Money can't buy happiness. Rich people are evil. Money is never enough. You need to spend very carefully, not to touch money at all. Wow, thank you. Now my question to you is this. Of all the answers that you gave in the chat box, were your conditioning or was it more negative? What's the answer? Let me know in the chat box. You can type yes or you can type, like P or N. P is positive, N is negative. Mostly negative. Thank you. If I consider 100%, 90% are negative thoughts about money, 10% are positive. How many of you would agree to that? Type A if you would agree to that. Absolutely great. Thank you. And we don't even know this has been conditioned to us, right? So it's not that we are blaming someone here, but we are doing step number one, which is awareness, making us realize why we are the way we are. So let's look at some of the statement. How many of you agree to this, that we have heard this, that money is a root cause of all evil? Sub problems ki wajah, paisa. You know, your uncle will stop talking to your dad because of money. Your sisters have problems because of money. Property issues, money issues, this, that. How many of you have heard that? Just type yes if you have heard all of that. Thank you. Now, this is again negative, right? And we have been conditioned in this way throughout. And it's not their mistake. They came from a different background. Their era was of survival. So they never thought of growth or money or progress or wealth. Their era was, if I, as a family member, am able to feed my kids and my family, I have done a great job. And that was their era. And hats off to them. It is because of them that today we can afford a laptop, a Wi Fi connection, and sit comfortably in an AC. How many of you realize we have lots of gratitude for them? If you get that, just type yes. Absolutely great. Thank you. So we are never ever saying that they did something wrong. What we are also saying is that with the good, the influence of all these things also came onto us. And it's our responsibility now to be aware and to remove what is not serving us and to do something that serves us. That's the only thing. It's all awareness. Now, second one, most rich people have done something dishonest or something wrong to get there quickly. How many of you have heard of that as well? If he has a lot of money, 2 number पैसा, कुछ तो गलत किया है, झोल है, 2 number का पैसा है. How many of you have heard that? Just type yes if you have heard that. Thank you. Now, some of you are saying, yes, I've heard it. In reality, some of you honestly might have also said it for someone. That when you saw someone with a lot of money, you would be like, Arey, 2 number paisa, it's 2 number. How many of you have done that? Let's be honest. Type me in the chat box. And it's okay, because the moment you are aware is the moment you decide to change. Thank you. See, again, this conditioning is negative. Let's look at the third one. Money doesn't grow on trees. I think this is like the tagline of a typical Indian middle class family, right? That I've seen this everywhere. पैसे क्या पेड़ पे उगते हैं? Does money go on trees? Absolutely great. Thank you so much. Yes, there may be few exceptions, but this is the reality for all of us. It's easier for those who are born in wealthy families. Oh, nahi, uske paas to family ke paas paisa hai. You know, he's born with a silver spoon. That's how he can do it. How many of you say that as well? You've heard of that as well. Yeah, someone says nepotism. I love that, Shweta. Absolutely great. Thank you. Now, my question to you is this. If somebody has something which you doesn't have, should you be jealous of that and blame that? Or should you actually be happy for them and be inspired and get the same for you? Should you be jealous or should you be inspired? J or I? What's the answer? Let me know in the chat box. Thank you. I. Absolutely great. Well, it's easier to type in I, but again, a truth bomb. How many of you realize most of us are actually J rather than being I? Again, being very honest. It's a truth bomb coming your way, right? Type me in the chat box if you agree. Yeah, some of you are like J and I. Like, I'm kind of inspired. Wow, great journey. But I'm also jealous. It doesn't deserve. I want it. I deserve. Some of us have that, right? Absolutely great. Thank you for being, yeah, the evolution process, eye opener. Absolutely great. Thank you. That's what it is. And it all starts with the why, the awareness of where we are. And of course, one of the favorite, money isn't everything. How many of you have heard that as well? Type me in the chat box. If you think, yeah, we live in only I wish state. Absolutely great. Money isn't everything, right? You know who says money isn't everything? Someone who doesn't have money. Again, a truth bomb coming your way, right? Some of you are ready for it. Some of you are like, ye to dhoti khol ke maar raha hai. You know, dialogue from the movie Nayak, right? That's what is happening for some of us. That what is it? What is it? Why are so many truth bombs happening? The reason is I can be a friend to you, but I want to be honest so that you can learn and grow faster, right? The reason, if you see yourself cribbing about money and saying money isn't everything, well, the reason is because you don't have money. As simple as that. How many of you, no matter how harsh it is, it feels like it is the truth? Type A if you agree to that. Yeah, those who say who can't buy money, money can't buy happiness. Yeah, a lot of people say that. I'll prove you how money can actually help you to be happy in life. I'll show that as we go ahead. Yes, thank you. Yeah, someone says we can go into spirituality. And then I love the comment. She says, I went into spirituality, but it was actually an escape from trying to take hard efforts to, earn money. Which means itna effort kaun lega? So I'll go into spirituality and say, yeah, money is all waste. I'm beyond that. How many of you realize we find our own escape routes in life? If you get that, type agree. Absolutely great. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for typing it in. Yeah, sub moho maya. I love that. Absolutely great. Now, the conditioning that we have been had throughout in our journey as we are growing up, there were three kind of conditioning which happened. Number one was verbal conditioning. Everybody type this out in the chat box. Verbal. Yes. Yeah, money can't buy Lamborghini, but yeah, money can buy Lamborghini, which will give happiness, is what you say. Great. So the first one is V, which is verbal. You heard what somebody said, and that is what you followed in your life, right? So when my father said, stay away from three W's, I stayed away from three W's for a long time. The first two W's are okay. I stayed away from wealth for a long time. Whenever a lot of money used to come my way, I used to be like, no, no, am I prepared? No, I'm too small. My shoulders used to drop. I used to feel I can't do it, not capable. In reality, I was actually defending and escaping because what if I have too much wealth? And what if he becomes upset? What if my family feels I've got a lot of money, which means I have a lot of attitude, a lot of ego? How many of you know of all these voices in your head that I'm talking about? Type me in the chat box if you know of exactly what I mean. Thank you. And that happened a lot with me in this journey. So you tend to do what you have heard from people. Very, very important. Okay, that's the first one, verbal, we. The second one is modeling, what you saw and what you did. How many of you have heard of something called as monkey see, monkey do? If you have heard of it, type yes. Yeah, Sudhir says me, Kanika says yes, 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 great. It's not just about monkey, right? Humans see, humans do, as simple as that. And how does it work? Let's give it a shot. If you have your phone in your hand, just keep it in front of you. If you're on a laptop, then it's okay. If you have a pen, paper, leave it aside. And I want both your hands like this up in the air in front of you, in this position. I want everybody's hand in this position. Okay, done. Are you ready? What do we need to do? We need to clap on the count of three. Now, I know I can't see you, but I know you are honest because you are here with me and you've promised to be so. So I want you to be honest. Keep your hands like this, and I want all of you to do it. When you're doing it, if your family is around, they'll look at you, they'll see, "Ye kya pagal ho gaya? This person has gone crazy. What is he doing?" But you do it because you're here and you want to experience it, right? Experience the learning. So keep your hands like this in front of you, and we need to clap on the count of three. Okay, ready? One, two. Oh, what happened there? All of you can keep your hands down and let me know in the chat box how many of you again say honestly you clapped on the count of two instead of three. How many of you did that? Please go ahead. Be very honest. Be very honest if you clapped. Just type C if you clapped. Great. A lot of you are saying, no, 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 I did not clap. Absolutely great. Well done. But if you did honestly, just type C, which means clapped. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely great. Lovely. Thank you so much for being honest. I appreciate you. For those who didn't clap, good. For those who clapped, it's okay because that's exactly what modeling is. We tend to do what people do, not just what people say, right? Because if I stand here, if I sit in front of you and if I'm like, hey, no smoking, you are going to see me smoke. You will feel it's okay to do, even if I'm saying not to do it. So how many of you realize most probably children do this a lot, right? When you were growing up, you did it watching your family, your parents. Today, if you have children, how many of you observe if say you are a mother and you are getting ready, say you're just putting a little lipstick, your little daughter, 3-year-old sees it. Next thing she'll do is she'll come up, hold that lipstick and she'll do the same. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Type A in the chat box if you agree to that. Thank you. Absolutely great. If you are a father, if you're just polishing your shoes or you're wearing a tie, next thing you'll see is your 3 or 5-year-old son come and do the same. Why? Because they are modeling each and everything that we are doing, right? So if you are talking, and this happened with my very good friend of mine, she's in Poland, and her little daughter asked her to buy a toy, and she said, no, it is very expensive. So this happened a couple of times. And next time when they went to a store and they were like, hey, do you want expensive? And it was actually just for £1, €1. So it wasn't that expensive. But now the daughter is thinking everything around is expensive. How will she ever come out of it? How many of you know what I'm talking about when I say modeling? How many of you get that? Thank you. And imitation is in our mind, right? Absolutely great. So please go ahead and type this modeling. And from today, be aware. If you have children who are in that age group of 3 years to 10 years, they are going to model what you're doing. They're going to observe. Keep yourself to a higher standard and make sure you don't fall for this. If you say about money, if you do about money, which is not that great, they're going to follow it blindly, as simple as that. As what most of you did right now, right? You clapped on two because I clapped on two. And that's how it works. So modeling is again the reason why we are where we are today. And the third one is specific incidents. Everybody please type SI in the chat box, specific incident. So something specific that happened in your life. The way I said, the day my father passed away, that was a specific incident I can never ever erase from my memory, right? And the guilt may go less. Today I'm comfortable speaking about it. But do you really think I have like overcome it? Do you think it is completely erased from me? How many of you realize that's never ever going to happen? Type no in the chat box if you get that. That no, it's not going to completely go away, right? But today I'm in a comfortable space to share it because of the growth and the learning that has happened through this journey. And that's what it is. In any difficult situation, learn to deal with it and move ahead. That's the game. So this is the specific incident, the modeling, all the verbal. This is how we have been programmed in our journey. So I want now all of you to say hi to this Bhalu. His name is Bhalu. So everybody please type hi B. B means Bhalu. Hi, Bhalu. Absolutely great. And he's going to teach us something about why we are where we are in our life. And that's very, very crucial. Okay. Now, if you want financial freedom, some of you might be thinking, Abhay, tell me which stock should I invest? Tell me which mutual fund should I invest? Which real estate? What is going to bloom? Tell me that. That is how I'll make money, right? Whatever you're talking right now is at a later stage. This comes at a primary stage, and I'll tell you how. So this Bhalu is actually going to help us a few things. He's sitting on a rock right now. And let me take you to a story which is beautiful and I can relate. And I was in that position for a lot of time in my life. And I'm sure some of you might still be there. And you can be honest and you can just type, that's me, if you think the part of Bhalu is actually you when I share the story. Okay. So just type, that's me later when I tell you the story. So here's what it is. Here's how the story goes. So here's a Bhalu. And on a fine day, it's a beautiful day, a lot of wind going on. He's sitting on the stone. But this stone has a nail on which he's sitting. So when he's sitting, actually the part of nail is in his body and there's blood which is oozing out from there. So watching this on the other side is the king of the jungle, the lion, and with him, his wife, the lioness. And they're looking at him and they're like, what is wrong with Bhalu? I can clearly see that the nail is inside of him and I can clearly see the blood coming out. Why is he not getting up? Why can't he just go and sit somewhere else? What's the reason? Why is he in that space? And continues to be that way. They're thinking, what's wrong with him? Bhalu continues to be there. He gets up, he adjusts a little, he sits there again, and he's still there. Now, from sunrise, it has come to sunset. He's still sitting there, a little uncomfortable, moving always. At sunset, finally, a series of bees comes near his face, like a honey bee. And one bee is constantly buzzing in his ear, near his eye, near his mouth. How many of you realize if there's a bee that is buzzing near your ear, it's an irritating feeling? How many of you agree to that? Type A in the chat box if you agree to that. That at that point, you're like, ah, you just want to do anything to let go of that bee, right? And having said that, the bear now gets up, the Bhalu gets up, he moves his hand around and he goes and sits to a different place where now there are no bees around, as simple as that. And he sits there comfortably. And the lion and the lioness are looking and they're observing and they're like, oh, this is what it is. And the lesson that they learned from this was very simple. The Bhalu is having little pain right now in his life, but it is not enough for him to come out of the comfort zone and take an action. What do I mean by that? How many of us are a Bhalu in our life wherein we are having a little pain right now, but it's not so much pain that I have to take any efforts. It's like, ye maine ka bill bhar lenge. The bills for this month is paid. Ah, it's okay. How many of you are like that? Type, yeah, me, bulb on, right? It's a bulb on moment. Absolutely great. And that is our problem. We are in our comfort zone. We are probably waiting for an emergency to come and slap us, and then we go to the next level. You know why we have heard rags to riches? Because rags have faced multiple slaps in life, right? Whereas very few have you heard middle class to riches. No, why? Because middle class is like this Bhalu. There's a little nail. It's a little uncomfortable. Yeah, this month I won't be able to afford to go to a fancy restaurant, but I can afford to have bhel and pani puri. So I am a little comfortable. This month bills I can pay, I'm okay. That B that comes in is an emergency. It's suddenly when you realize, whoa, a medical expense, 10 lakhs, I don't have. Yeah, thoda dard hai, but chalta hai. A little pain, but I'm okay. But then a big pain comes up, and then you realize the eyes open, you get up, you take action. Exactly what happened with me, right? My big pain helped me to come out of that, and it helped me to become a better person. Now, I want you to realize, don't wait for an emergency to come and get you up. Consider me to be your bee. I am that bee right now buzzing in your ear, and allow me to push you from your comfort zone to get up and go to the next stage. How many of you realize I am a better emergency than the real life emergency that might come your way? How many of you agree to that? Type A in the chat box if you agree to that. Absolutely great. Thank you. And that's what I want all of you to know. Okay. So, do you give me the permission to be the B in your life so that I can push you towards your next step so that you can come out of your comfort zone and achieve the financial freedom that you want? If that's okay, yeah, Abhay the buzzing bee. I love that, Shaji. Thank you so much. If that's okay, type I am in, which means, yes, Abhay, I am in. I'm ready for me to allow you to be that B in my life who pushes me from my comfort zone to the level where I want to go in my life. Absolutely great. I am in. I love it. Thank you so much for doing so. And that's what it is, right? Ask yourself this question. Where are you being the Bhalu in your life? Is it in money? Now, I want you to type it out in the chat box, okay? Is it in money that financially you don't have the knowledge to grow your money? And that is where you're being very comfortable in your zone. And that's why you can't have more money. Is it relationship? You're kind of taking things for granted, saying, my wife थोड़ी वो छोड़ के जाएगी. No, she's not going to divorce me. My husband is not going to divorce me. Where will my parents go? They will stay. छोड़ना. So you think you're taking it for granted. Or is it your career? Are I'm able to pay the bills? No. Why do you want to be ambitious? It's okay. Let it go. Or is it your health? And I'm not going to have a heart attack tomorrow, right? So I can just have this one cigarette. I can just have this one gulab jamun, this, that. Where are you being the Bhalu in your life? Let me know in the chat box. Is it money, relationship, career, or health? MRCH. If it is all, type all. It can be anything for you. It doesn't have to be one of the other. It can be all together as well. Thank you. Yeah. Most of you are talking about all, right? And that's how it is. And that's where you need to realize if you want to change, you need to realize where you are today. Only then can you go to the next one. By the way, how many of you are learning something and having fun in this style of training? If you are, type me in the chat box. If you're having fun and you're learning, and there's a lot of bulb on moments as well, absolutely great. Thank you. I love it. And that takes me towards your next step now, which is clarity. Now you know why you are the way you are, right? Now Arun knows, Abha knows, Dr. Tyagi knows, Sujata knows, Nupur knows, Abhay knows why you are the way you are. It's because of the conditioning. Now we can't change that. We cannot go back in history. We can only move forward. The next step, write this down, is clarity. Write this down, everybody in the chat box as well. Clarity. If you don't know what you want in life, how will you ever achieve it? Most of the people don't achieve their goals in life. Why? Because they don't know what are the goals in their life. How many of you realize what I just said? Type me in the chat box if you agree कि मेरे को बहुत चाहिए, but क्या चाहिए? नहीं पता. I don't know. Because I don't really know. If I don't know what I want, how will I get what I want? So the clarity. Where do you want to be? What is the position that you want to be? Yeah, thank you. Jadeja says that's absolutely me, exactly me. Thank you. And it's okay. Nobody is born with a lot of clarity. No, 10 standard, then IIT, then IIM, then this, then that. This is all just said. Nobody is so clear. It's always in the journey that you get clear, right? So it's okay if you don't have clarity. But now it's not okay if you don't take efforts to gain that clarity. How many of you understand the difference? Nahi pata, theek hai. But the willingness to learn on to get clarity, that is important. If you get that, please go ahead and type yes. Yeah. Thank you. Harvinder says, yeah, my conditioning was bad, right? And it's okay. A lot of us have that conditioning, which is not that great. Today is the day when you stop blaming anyone else and you take that next step towards the one that we want. So here's my question to you. Out of all the things that you see on your screen, type it out in the chat box. What are some of the fruits that you want in your life? What is it that the result that you want in your life? Yeah, I want a car, I want a property, I want to travel the world, I want a lifestyle, I want my business. What is it that you want? Yeah, everybody's typing in all, right? Absolutely great. Thank you. When I started, my goal in life was very simple, to move from a rented apartment to have my own house where my mother can stay very comfortably. That was a simple single goal which I had. Then was to get a car. Then was to complete an MBA. Then was to travel, the entire world. And that's how things were, one at a time. But it was clear what I wanted. Now my question to you is this. Thank you. Everybody's typing in property, branded clothes, watch, car, build my own bungalow. Absolutely great. Now my question to you is this. As you see on your screen, here's a guy whose name is Pappu. Everybody say hi, Pappu. Everybody go ahead and type that. This Pappu has nothing to do with the current political scenario in the country. Okay, so don't worry about it at all. But he's going to help us understand a simple concept of fruits and the results that we want in our life. So yes, thank you so much. Yeah, Arun is in bracket. He's like, hi, Pappu. And he's like, it is me. I am the Pappu. And some of us might be the Pappus in our life as well, right? Thank you. But that's great. I love it. So this guy is going to talk about something called as the fruits that you see on your screen. Now, he has a beautiful tree, which is an orange tree, and it has got some sweet and the best oranges ever. So he plucks an orange every single day. He eats it, and it's the most juiciest orange ever. How many of you have ever had some fresh oranges? I stay in Mumbai, and a lot of them come from Nagpur, which is famous for oranges, right? And when it's a sweet orange, it's one of the best feelings ever. How many of you agree to that? Type A if you agree to that. That's some nice sweet oranges. If you have, it's a great feeling. Great. Thank you so much for typing it. Even Darjeeling does that. Absolutely great. Yes. Thank you. One fine day, Pappu is tasting an orange, and suddenly it's very sour. It's not at all sweet. So he throws away that fruit. He picks up another fruit. He tastes that. It is sour again. He takes one more. It's sour again. He tastes everything. It's sour. He just removes everything, plucks it out. And he now walks in the market and is looking out for a sweet fruit. This time, he sees a bunch of mangoes. He picks up one mango, removes the peel, and he eats it. And it's the sweetest mango ever. By the way, how many of you here love mangoes? The mango season is upon us, right? So please go ahead and type it out if you love mangoes. Thank you. Yeah, I love it. Alfonso mangoes, be it the Ratnagiri mangoes, the Devgad mangoes, the Hapus Amba, as what we say. And in your place, it can be anything that it is, right? But these mangoes, he tasted, and it's beautiful. It's just sweet. So he gets 100 different mangoes. He comes up, he removes all the oranges, and he starts stapling the mangoes to the tree. And now he's like, from now on, this tree is a mango tree. And I'm going to get mangoes from here every single day. Do you think Pappu is going to achieve the results that what he is planning for? Do you think the tree is automatically going to be the mango tree there? No, right? A lot of you all know. Someone like lol, someone like ha ha ha. No, that's not going to happen. He's indeed Pappu, right? If you believe so. Now, it might be fun for us to make fun of a third person, but now realize this in your own life. How many of you want different results, which are the fruits, but you're taking the same efforts? How many of you realize you want a different result, but your effort is the same? How will you get a different result if your effort is the same? How many of you understand a bulb on or a truth moment right now? Type me in the chat box कि मेरे को चाहिए कि life बदले, but मैं नहीं बदलना चाहता. I don't want to change for that, but life should change, results should change. I want all of you to know this. Thank you so much for typing in me in the chat box, that it is your roots which create your fruits, right? What you see on top is only your result. It's a fruit. What actually creates the fruit is the result, which you don't see, it's underground. And that is what takes you to the third step. Write this down in your book, the formula. The formula for you, what should you do to reach towards your financial freedom? That is the third step. So everybody, please type this out in the chat box. Write down formula. What's the success formula? What can you do so that you can go ahead and achieve your financial freedom? What to do to get there, whatever goals that you have. Okay. We are coming towards the third step. Then we have the last one, and then we are done with our session today. So the third step, you already know about the first one, which was awareness. Second one, which was clarity. And now the third one, which is the formula for you to achieve what you want in life. So we all want results, right? You said you want a car, you want a watch, you want a bungalow, you want to travel the world. That's a result. Now tell me, what comes before result? Type it out in the chat box. What comes before result? If I want to have, yeah, someone said here, Pavitra said action, Senthil said action. Absolutely great. Wonderful. Well done. Actions come before results, right? If I want to lift this glass up, I have to actually take that action to lift it up. Then I can drink it. So the action has to be done to get the result. How many of you agree and understand this? Give me an A in the chat box. If you understand it all comes from actions, your result comes from actions. Thank you. Now, what do you think comes before actions? Type it out in the chat box. What do you think comes before actions? Courage, thoughts, planning, feelings, plan, vision, direction, beliefs, plan, intention, decision, a thought, attitude. Absolutely great. All of you are putting in all the answers, which are absolutely great. Now, here's the point. Remember when I started, I said it only takes one moment to decide to change in your life. It doesn't take 2 hours, doesn't take 3 days. It takes one moment. How many of you understand that? Type A in the chat box if you understand that. And if you do so, then please type decision in the chat box. You will only take an action if you decide that you want to do that. Otherwise, you won't. So you first need to make a decision, right? The moment I saw that I had used his card, the lowest moment of my life, I took a decision that never ever in life will this happen. It was a decision. Then I took an action, and then eventually I got a result which I wanted. How many of you understand? And it makes sense. Type MS if it makes sense. That it comes from a decision, right? A decision that you don't want to be where you are and where you want to be. Now, what comes before decision? Let me know in the chat box. Let me see the answer. A desire, a wish, the learning, the skills, the feelings, the emotions. Absolutely. All of you are right up there. What comes are the feelings. When I saw his card, the feelings that I got, the emotional moment that I was in, that prompted me to take a decision. If I don't feel that emotional pinch, then I will not be able to achieve what I want. I'm about to tell you the truth or the simple formula in life to achieve what you want. And it is this. Understand this carefully. Listen to it very carefully. Your professional goals will only be achieved if you turn it into a personal goal. I'll repeat once again. Your professional if you turn it into a personal goal. My goal was to get a house, but if I just say I want a house, I will never have it. If I make it a personal goal, my mother who's being paying rent, I have to get this house for my mother. I've made it personal, and then that is how I achieve the goal which I've set. How many of you understand your professional goals can be achieved if you feel strongly about it, which is nothing but making it personal, make it into a personal goal? How many of you get that? If it's a bulb on moment, type BO. If you get it, type yes. Yeah, the purpose, right? Very, very important. Absolutely great. So whatever you want a car, you may or you may not get it. If you want a car because you don't want your father to ever walk in the sun and you want him to give that life that he can with a driver, that's a strong purpose. Now you're doing it for him, for her. That will drive you more. So convert it into your personal goal. That feelings are important. Now, what comes before the feelings? Let me know in the chat box. Thinking. Absolutely great. Thank you. Context. Absolutely wonderful. What else? Thoughts. You are absolutely right. Thought comes before your feelings. Now, you might feel that thoughts is the first thing, right? It all starts here. But Abhay, there is a little gap on your screen at the top. So how come something can come before thoughts also? That's not possible. But now you tell me, what do you think comes before your thoughts? What do you think is the answer? Incidents, very close, mind, situation, absolutely great. Intention, awareness, dreaming, desire, belief, absolutely good. One of you said that right now in the chat box. Thank you so much for typing it in. It's your conditioning or your beliefs. Now, what do I mean when I say conditioning or beliefs? Observe this. I was born into a Brahmin family, right? A Hindu Brahmin family. So eating non-veg was never ever in our culture. Which means what? Now observe this. If you think it is all about the thoughts, but eating non-veg was never in our culture, and that is why the thought of having non-veg never entered my mind. That is why I never took a decision to buy a chicken. I never took an action to eat it, and I never had it. So how many of you realize you might feel thoughts is the number one platform? No, it actually starts from the conditioning or the beliefs before. How many of you understand that? Type BO in the chat box, which means a bulb on moment, or type yes if you understand and if you get it. That you might feel that it is the thoughts, right? It starts from there. No, it starts from your beliefs, from your conditioning. And that conditioning drives you towards the thoughts that you have in your life. How many of you understand that? Thank you. Yeah, super bulb on, says Mahesh. Absolutely great. So if I was born in a, say, a family that eats non-veg, for me, I would very easily think of ordering chicken and eat it comfortably. So it has not much to do with the religion, but it has much to do with the conditioning or the belief. How many of you understand the difference? Yeah, Giri says so much relatable. Absolutely great. Wonderful. So that's why if you want a different result, you need to first change your conditioning, your beliefs, your environment around you. That will help you to change your thoughts. That will help you to change your feelings, decision, actions, and then the results would change. How many of you understand what I'm talking right now? Type me in the chat box if you get it. Thank you. So if you have currently, let's say you don't have a car, you want a car, then that's the result. You won't just get a car because you want it. You need to change your environment, get into an environment of learning. If your people around who are talking about learning, growing, investing, you get the money and then you get a car. So it's the conditioning, it's the people around, the beliefs that matter a lot. And how do I know that? It's because of this simple quadrant. And Robert Kiyosaki says this a lot in Rich Dad and Poor Dad as well. How many of you have heard of Robert Kiyosaki? Type RK in the chat box if you have heard of Robert Kiyosaki. Thank you. He's a gem, right? He's one of the best. And his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. How many of you have heard about Rich Dad, Poor Dad? You can write RDPD, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Again, amazing. If you haven't read it, go to YouTube, find videos around it, but it's amazing. And he says this, that at any given point, we live in 4 different quadrants. The first one is a mental quadrant, which is an inner thing, right? You can't see mental outside, it's all inner. Then comes emotional. What is mental? Mental is actually your intelligence. So everybody type it out in the chat box. M equals to I, which means your intelligence, your ability to think. That is your mental space. That if I say, what is the square root of 64? Then your ability to go, okay, 8, okay, oh yeah, 8 or 4 or whatever is the answer. That's you're using your intelligence. That's your mental space. It's inner. Thank you. Arjun is answering 8. I love that. Thank you, Arjun. Now, we come to the second quadrant and it's emotional, which means what we feel about things. And there's no brain there. What do I see when I say that? Let's say if you took an iPhone, do you really think you buy an iPhone for its features and for its processor and for all of the technical specifications? Do you buy for that? Or do you buy an iPhone because, boss, you have an iPhone? Ah, that's it. Emotional. How many of you think it's A? Type emotional if you think it's E. E is nothing but emotional. Yeah, you buy things because it has an emotional value, right? Because it's a brand and it feels good to have an iPhone in your hand. Understand the difference. Your specifications of the phone have nothing to do, but when you sit with your friends, prestige, yes, now you're understanding. And when you keep your hotel and you keep everybody keeps their phone outside, you keep your phone, and when it's an iPhone, you feel nice about yourself. So it's more emotional rather than any specification or anything about it. How many of you get that? Yeah, status type me if you understand that. Then again, that emotional feeling is an inner feeling, right? It has to do with yourself on the inside. Then comes the third one, spiritual, which is us connecting with a higher self. Now, for some of us, spiritual may be religion, may be God. For some of us, spiritual might be meditation. Let me know in the chat box, what is spirituality for you? Is it connecting to God? Is it connecting to a higher self? Is it meditating? Or is it just a state of zero, which means nothing, null? What is it for you? Let me know. Higher self, higher power, God, null, prayer, connecting to myself, zero, Zen. Absolutely great. Thank you. And I respect each one of you for your spirituality. And that is the right one for you as well. But again, that is inner. Now, the last quadrant that you see is physical. My question to you is the physical quadrant that we live in, is it inner or is it outer? What's the answer? Let me know in the chat box. Outer, outer, outer. Thank you, Aruna. Thank you, Chinna. Thank you, Veena. Thank you, Tosif, for typing it in. It's the outer, right? It's the outerness. Now, I want all of you to understand the mental, emotional, and spiritual, which is the inside, is actually like an input, and physical is actually like an output or a printout of what has been given in. Now, why am I sharing this and how it is to do with the bank balance in our account? You want 1 crore in your bank account. You want to buy a house of 2 crores. That's a physical thing. That's an outer thing. That's a result. Can you achieve it if your inner state is not that great? Do you think you will be able to achieve that? Type yes or no. What do you think is the answer? No, right? Obviously, you cannot. A lot of people out in the market will have seminars. They'll say, oh, you want to get rich quick? Come here. I'll tell you this, invest in that, etc. Done. They are talking about changing the results. But you don't realize you need to change the inner part, which are the roots to then change your results. What they are doing is giving you the right stock, the right mutual fund, the right this, the right that. That's like me giving you fish. It will help you survive today. But tomorrow, the stocks would change. They won't give you. What will happen then? So instead of giving you a fish, what we are doing is we are teaching you how to fish so that you can empower yourself and be sustainable throughout in this journey. How many of you think learning to fish is better than just accepting fish? How many of you understand and agree to that? Just go ahead and type me. Absolutely great. Yes, thank you so much. Great. So here's what it is. Whatever physical results that you want in your life, you will only get it if you change the root, because the root are something that creates the fruit. So everybody type it out in the chat box. Roots creates fruits. Please go ahead and type it out. Roots create fruits. Tausif says, eye-opening, Abhay. Thank you. Pavitra says, please repeat what is spiritual. Spiritual can be anything, Pavitra. It can be something which is a state of you connecting to a God, connecting to a higher self, being in a zero state, connecting in a state wherein you're aware in the present. Spiritual can be anything which means for you. But again, spiritual is on the inner side. If you are well, if you change and transform yourself on the mental, spiritual, and emotional angle, automatically results, which is a byproduct, the physical things will change. As simple as that. Yes, thank you so much for typing it out. Root creates fruits. Absolutely great. So now my question to you is this, what you see on your screen. Whatever goals or fruits that you want, properties, car, education, travel, business, relationships, promotion, which of these fruits need money? What's the answer? Please go ahead and type it out in the chat box. Yeah, thank you. Everyone is typing in all, everything, right? Absolutely great. Thank you. Now, some of you might feel, Abhay, relationship doesn't require money. It is unconditional, right? Now, this is an ideal world if you're living, Gil. I'll give you reality. If you are married, here's my challenge to you. Leave your job and sit at home and don't do anything. Within a week, you will see a difference in the way your wife treats you. Or if you're a wife, you'll see a difference in the way your husband treats you. How many of you understand what I'm talking about? I am not saying their love will reduce for you. No, I am saying there'll be a difference in treatment to what is given to you. How many of you understand that? It's a harsh reality, right? It's a bulb on moment. That's the truth. And how do I know that? Again, same, me and my father had this amazing relationship, but never had a fulfilling one. And once he retired, he thought that I don't bring in the money in life. So these people, my wife, my children, they're treating me differently. Whereas the reality was we never wanted their money, right? And we weren't really differently treating him, but he believed so that now I'm retired, I don't bring in the money. So no, everybody's treating me differently. How many of you realize sometimes we have these preconceived notions in our head? Type me in the chat box if you understand that. Yeah, thank you. It's hard to believe, but that's the truth, right? So I want you to know if you think, no, we don't need money. Love is enough for me. Okay, both of you leave job, sit at home, and think love is enough. Who is going to feed you? You need something on there, right? And you need money. So if people say money is not required, that's fake. Don't fall for that. Absolutely, money is essential. And that is why money management is essential. And that is where it comes on to your financial stability. All goals in life, what you want, definitely require financial stability. How many of you understand that? Type A in the chat box if you agree. Yeah, Giri says money brings security, right? Great. Yes, thank you. The moment you get a paycheck, how do you feel that day? You feel like a king or a queen, right? You would order the best food, you would live a lavish life at that point. But eventually, at the end of the month, how do you feel? You probably don't want to make plans with your friends because now you're calculating if I go out with my friend today, I will at least spend 1,000 rupees, but I don't want to spend 1,000 rupees. So I'll call and say, hey, I'm not feeling well. I can't come. How many of you are guilty of doing so? Type me in the chat box. Thank you. The whole is like, yes, yes, relatable. Absolutely great, right? It happens to everyone. It happened to me as well. And that is very common. So I want you to realize we need to change this perspective towards money and have a positive one. So what's the goal of wealth creation? Number one, how many of you agree that typically you and me, we are not selfish people and we just don't want money for ourselves. We actually want money to give our family a better life. Your husband, your wife, your children, your parents, your aim is actually that. How many of you are with me? Just type me in the chat box if you are with me, that you agree that, end of the day, you get 20,000, 30,000, you're okay. But if you're living in a good house, your family is doing well, bills are being paid comfortably, your mother is going on a trip, your wife is enjoying this, that's the feeling that we want, right? Thank you. Absolutely great. Travel. When I was there earning 7,000 rupees a month, not being able to pay, travel was never in my head. I wouldn't even step down in my own city, let alone going aside anywhere else. But this month, or rather last month in March, I went for a 15-day Europe vacation with my wife, and I didn't even have to think. And we had the most amazing time. So if you think money can't buy happiness, trust me, when you see the Eiffel Tower shimmer at night at 12 o'clock, when you go to France, when you go to Switzerland at Mount Titlis, the moment that you feel there and the memories, that will last forever. And unfortunately, that needs money. How many of you understand that? Type me in the chat box if you get it. So we want to create such wonderful moments, right? And the relationship there is strengthened. But then the backbone is that we require money. We want to help each other. Yeah, you have experienced it, what Sripata says, right? Yes, Europe is amazing. So is India. But anywhere to go, you need money, right? You need to be your own boss. And most importantly, the ultimate goal is to have freedom, which means you chose to do something rather than you have to do something. When you realize there's a big EMI loan of 1 lakh rupees or 2 lakh rupees a month, can you decide, hey, I'm going to leave my job? You can't, right? But now, my situation, I'll tell you how it is. I have assets which is giving me passive income. Now, there are certain words here you might know, you might not. Asset is something which actually increases its value and you're going to be in profit at the end of it. So it's not a liability wherein money is going. It's actually an asset wherein money is coming or eventually will come in the future. How many of you understand what's assets here? Type A if you understand and agree to what I've just said. Thank you. Then comes the concept of passive income. Now, what is passive income? Type PI in the chat box, passive income. Passive income is a state wherein you don't have to work and still money will come to you. Now, some of you might be aware, some of you are like, huh, that's an alien concept, right? How will that ever happen? Now, I've created enough assets which are bringing in the revenue, and that revenue is a passive income for me. How many of you understand this right now? Type A in the chat box. Yes, thank you. Some of you are saying, why can't everybody see chats? That's a little disturbing for you to see each other with so many chats buzzing, right? And that's why you can only see your chats, and that's okay. But I can see everybody's chats, and I will acknowledge you when I see it. So don't worry. Yes, thank you. Great. Yeah, rent from the leased house. Yes, that's one way. Thank you. Now, when you have passive income and when you have enough asset, it leads to financial freedom. Now, what is financial freedom? Whatever I'm earning from my assets, be it the house that I've rented, be it the stocks that I have, which give me dividends, be it all the assets, which is giving me what I want as money. When I have that much money, which takes care of my expenses, which means, let's say I have to pay a bill of 3,000 rupees as a light bill, 2,000 rupees of grocery, 500 rupees gas bill, cumulative is 25,000 a month, example. If I'm able to generate 25,000 as a passive income and 25,000 goes in my expenses, my passive income takes care of my expenses, I am financially free. How many of you now understood the concept of financial freedom? Type FF in the chat box. Absolutely great. Thank you so much. Now, I know some of you are saying, Abhay, kaise? We know this is what it is, but how will I get to that stage, right? And I love that I have been in that position, that desperation, that I know this is what it is, but how do I get there? And that's exactly what I'm about to tell you. So don't worry at all, okay? So financial freedom is when your passive income takes care of your expenses, which means today, the passive income which I'm getting is paying off my bills, which means if I work, it's out of choice, not out of compulsion, which means even if I don't work tomorrow, my still the payment is coming in, the bills are going out, I'm settled. That's financial freedom. Some of you might think earning 1 crore is financial freedom. Earning 10 crore is financial freedom. It's not a number. It's actually this state wherein passive income takes care of expenses. How many of you understand this? If you get this, please type it out in the chat box. PI greater than E, which means passive income greater than E. If you can't find a greater than symbol, just put a dot, PI dot E, which means you know what I'm saying. Absolutely great. Thank you so much. Very well done. By the way, how many of you are learning something valuable right now? Type me in the chat box if you're learning something valuable right now. Absolutely great. Thank you. And here's a lovely story which I want to share with all of you at this moment. Once there was this old monk. Now, a lot of us are familiar with a different kind of old monk, right? But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this wise old monk who was sitting at a monastery in Ladakh. And there were two people who came up to him and asked a question. Now, these two, what you see on your screen, are the oldest names heard ever in cinema, Ram and Sham. So everybody say hi Ram, hi Sham in the chat box. Let's go ahead and have all of you to type that out. Okay. Hi Ram, hi Sham. Thank you so much. Now, both of them come up. First comes in Ram. And Ram comes and talks to the old monk, says, hello, monk. I am married and I have two children, and I've been living in this village for the last 10 years, and I love the village. But now I want to experience your village. So I was thinking, can I come and stay in your village? How is your village? So the old monk smiles and he asks Ram, how did you find your old village? And Ram says, it's beautiful. The skies are so lush. It is also, the water bodies are amazing. The trees are so green. The birds chirping in the morning. The river which is flowing, the sound that I see. People are so warm. We help each other out. It's one of the best villages. But I just want to experience a new village and meet new people. And that's why I was wondering, can I come to your village? How is your village? And the old monk is listening to all of this and he says, Ram, it's amazing village. You're going to love it. When you come here, the people are so warm. The food here is so good. The climate here is so better. The trees are so good. You'll find so many birds. You're going to love it. So Ram is like, thank you so much. And he brings his entire family and comes and stays in this village. Now, cut to the next day. Sham comes up to the old monk and Sham says, hello, old monk. My name is Sham and I'm here with my family living in this village, but I'm kind of bored of this village. I want to come and stay in your village. How is your village? Now, the old monk looks at Sham and asks him a question. How was your previous village? And Sham says, don't ask, yaar, what a pathetic village. People are just killing each other. They just want each other's money. They're stealing constantly. There's not even a single tree that I can see. The food is so terrible. We don't have enough water. There's this, there's that. The birds are constantly disturbing. I can't even sleep. It's terrible. I just want to get out of that hell. That's why I want to come and stay in your village. Is your village good? Now, the old monk looks at Sham and he says, you know what? This village, it's the same. It's terrible. You won't be able to be happy here. Better you don't come. And Sham feels, why? He's like, no, people here are fighting. No, there are no trees here. The water is not good. The birds are disturbing. It won't suit you. Sham is like, okay. And he goes back to the village. Now, my question to you is this. What's the lesson that you learn from this story? Why is the monk giving two different answers to the same question which has been asked? Let me know in the chat box. Mindset, perspective, absolutely great. Thank you so much. And this is what I want all of you to know. We have been conditioned to blame around everybody for the state that we are in, right? Are isne aise kiya, that's why I'm here. Isne aise kiya, that's why I'm here. It's time that you take charge and you realize it's not the people, it's you who determine how and where you want to live in your life. Now, what does this mean? If your father is a drunk person, and if that person has two children, one of them goes on becomes a drunkard, and when asked the question, why are you drunk? He says, because my father was a drunkard. The other person never touches alcohol, and when being asked, hey, why did you turn out to be like this? And he says, because my father was a drunkard. Which means what? That no matter how the reaction is or the environment is, the way you chose to react to it matters a lot. It is you who makes the difference. So the environment will push you towards in one direction. If you are there to take charge and you choose to react in a way that you want, then it takes you towards your goal, which you have to. Everybody, please write this down in the chat box. The reaction is more important than the situation. Please go ahead and type that out in the chat box. The reaction is more important than the situation. Absolutely important. The way you react to a situation is much more important than the situation itself. Thank you so much. Absolutely great. Now, why do I say when I say that? Let's look at this video and let me know what's the lesson you learned from this video. Okay, let me see in the chat box. What is it? Yes, self-limitation. Limits exist in your mind. Conditioning, mental boundaries trapped and thinks it is trapped. That's an important one, Priyanka. Thank you for sharing it. Here's my question to you. Now, I know some of you who are like crazy. Once you're going to actually look for an ant somewhere, then you're going to place a paper and you're going to draw a circle and see whether it works in real life. And feel free to do it. It's upon you. But my question to you is this. The ant, when placed on that paper and when a circle was drawn, was there a physical obstruction to the ant? Was it as if I placed a cup on top of it? Was there a physical obstruction? What's the answer? Yes or no? No, right? Thank you, Zarna. Thank you so much, Sheetal, Karan. No, 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 no. Absolutely great. Now, the circle was only on paper or was it actually in the mind of the ant? What's the answer? Is it P or is it M? Is it paper or is it mind? Thank you. Mind, mind, mind. Absolutely great, right? Thank you. I want you to realize if the ant wanted, ant could have easily went ahead and crossed the circle. It was no big deal. But the point is, the ant is thinking, oh my God, I will not be able to do it, and putting a new limitation in the mind. How many of you agree each and every day we put out a new limitation in our head? Arey, mere se nahi hoga. No, no, I can't do it. You don't even know whether you can do it or not, but you're just like, nahi, it's okay. I will not. I will not. You create a new limitation. How many of you agree? Type me in the chat box if that's you. Absolutely great. Thank you. Yeah, the elephant tied to a rope, right? The elephant grows, the rope is the same, but still feels that I cannot break it. Absolutely correct. Thank you. And that's why I want you to realize the moment you say no to something, it is you creating a new circle in your head because there's always a way out. And that's what is important. So now, what's the last step? If you want to go ahead and make sure that you want to achieve financial freedom, what do you require? Now you want new results, which is new fruits. The current results is not something that you want, right? How many of you want new and better results? Please go ahead and type me in the chat box if you want new results. Absolutely great. Thank you so much for typing it in. You want to take new actions for that. You can only take new actions if you're willing to take new decisions. That will only happen if you have new feelings. Why do you want to do it? The strong why, the purpose, new thoughts, and then the new conditioning or the new belief. Today's session is to create point number one, which is new conditioning and new belief, so that you think in that direction. And then I present you an opportunity to take a decision so that you can take an action and then you can achieve the result that you want. So typically, you don't want to live a life which is the old mindset life, which was before this session today, which is life happens to me. For example, when somebody asks you, hey, how's your life? Bas chal raha hai yaar. How many of you have heard of such responses? Type me in the chat box if you have heard of those. That people are like, it's happening. Life is happening to me. I'm not doing anything. It's just happening. That's the first one. Yeah, thank you. Some of you are like, that's me. Absolutely correct. The real thing is, I create my life. You change that perspective. It's in your control. And that's exactly what it is. Very, very crucial. The second one, you play not to lose. The old mindset says not to lose. What is not to lose? You earn money to pay bills. That's your mindset. Okay, this month I need 25,000 to pay bills. If I get 25,000 rupees, I am done for this month. That's the mindset of playing not to lose. And that's how we are programmed. Humans have been programmed, our brain has been dealt in such a way that we think of survival. That's our animal instinct. We never think of growth. Whereas in reality, it is I play to win. Everybody type this out in the chat box. Whatever you see on the right-hand side, I want you to type it out. I want you to ingrain it in your mind physically through your hands because that's how it works. So I play to win. You don't just now earn money to make sure that you pay your bills. You do it for wealth creation. You do it to win in life. A lot of us have a either or life. What is either or? You go to a shop, you see something, let's say your child or your husband or your wife says, hey, which one? And you're like, this one or that one. It's an either or life. It's not about that when it comes to the life that you want. It's an and life, which means what? You like this both, take this both. That's the life. Now, what do I mean when I say that? I want you to stay focused here. I met Warren Buffett's daughter-in-law, Mary Buffett, and she was there at one of the sessions, and I heard something from her which is crazy, and which was about affordability. How do you know whether you can afford something, right? Now, for example, a lot of us think, say, iPhone or say a car. How do I know whether I can afford this iPhone? Simply, she gave the best investment principle. Do you want to learn that? Do you want to listen to that? Type me in the chat box. If you want to know that, what is the biggest thing of how you know whether you can afford something. So next time when you want to buy that dress, oh, it is 8,000. Can I afford it? How? This is the answer which I'm giving. Well, listen carefully. Very interesting and I love it. She says this, you can afford anything in life if you have the money to buy it 2 times. Simple logic, 2 times. And then everybody's like, why? What do you mean 2 times? For example, this is what she says. If you are buying an iPhone worth 1 lakh, the same day when you buy an iPhone made from Apple company, you invest 1 lakh rupees in Apple company stocks. Now see what you're doing. You're investing money in the stocks. You're buying the product. When you're buying the product, the demand is increasing. The stock value is increasing. Over a period of time, what you're investing, you will get enough returns and this product actually becomes free for you and you're financially free. So she says only buy a product when you can invest the equal amount in that company, in that stock. Which means today, yeah, some of you are like, wow, right? That's a bulb on moment. That's crazy. The moment I go to Domino's, if I buy a 500 rupees pizza, you won't believe this. Immediately I take out my phone and Jubilant Foodworks, I go ahead and I invest 500 rupees there. Why? If I only have at that point 500 rupees, I'll buy a 50 rupees pizza, I'll invest 50 in that. Why? Now you're consuming and you're putting back the money in. The stock is always going to grow. It's going to be on the rise and you want to make your money. That's crazy, right? Indian Oil. I buy shares from Indian Oil. I go and fill my car with the fuel from Indian Oil. So I'm also a consumer, so that money is coming into the company. The value is growing up. I'm also a shareholder. I'm reaching the benefits. I get the dividends. How many of you understand it's an and life? It's not an or life. Please go ahead and let me know if you get that. Yeah, thank you. Some of you are like, wow, that's crazy, right? That's amazing. And that's what it is. Yeah, Karan is like, oh my God, where was this all my life? And that's how these learning sessions are very, very important. How many of you are finding a lot of value right now? Type V in the chat box if you're finding a lot of value right now. Thank you. Absolutely great. Thank you. Lot of us have this concept which you see on the left hand side, which is resentment. What is resentment or to resent? If you see someone with money, with a car, with what you want, you somehow kind of resent it. You're like, nahi, nahi, I don't want this, Baba. I don't know how much they must have got it. No, no, no. Too much money. No, no, let's stay away. You feel negative about someone. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Type me in the chat box if you know that it's just a little overwhelming and you're resenting saying, nahi, Baba, apan simple log, we are simple people. We don't want all of this. Thank you. Absolutely great. Now, what's the reality? What's the mindset, the new mindset that we want? It is, I admire and model rich people. I want all of you to type that, what you see on your screen right now. Now, there's a saying in a community called as Yuna community. It's an African Adivasi kind of a community, the tribal community there. And they have a concept which is very beautiful. And I want you to listen. They say this, that whenever somebody gets something or something good happens in their life, as a community, they come and meet the person, they open their hands up and they shower their blessings and they say, bless that what you want. I will repeat again. Bless that what you want. Which means what? If say one of you, say Itishri or Aparna, gets a new car, I wanted that car. I will not feel jealous. I want it, she has it. I'll go there and I'll say, you know what, Aparna? Lovely car, yaar. Congratulations, and may God bless you with more such. I'm genuinely feeling happy for her. And in that frequency, when you vibrate, you start attracting that. And that's how eventually you will also receive one because you are now at that frequency. How does it work? A simple radio frequency concept. I come from Mumbai, right? And in Mumbai, we have RJ Malishka. Has anybody heard of RJ Malishka? Type yes in the chat box if you have heard. Thank you. So she's at Red FM 93.5. If I want to listen to RJ Malishka, I need to tune my frequency to 93.5, right? I cannot be at 100 and say, Malishka, you turn your antenna, tu tera ghuma. That's not going to happen, right? I'll just get noise. Which means what? You need to tune to the higher frequency. Only then will you receive stuff which are there at the higher frequency. How many of you understand this? Type me in the chat box and you can go ahead and type bulb on if you feel so, because that is what it is. Very, very important. A lot of us, the old mindset says problems are bigger, or it's such a big problem. How will I get so much money? I don't have so much money. Abhay says you need to invest in your learning, this training program. I don't have enough money. See, problems are bigger and you feel you are small. The reality is this: you might be at this position and you might feel the problem is at this position. So you are smaller, problem is higher, right? But the moment you choose to learn, only then will you grow in your life and suddenly the problem will look like it is small. The problem is the same, but you have grown and that is why this is no more a problem. But now, if you choose to be the state that you are in and you do not continue learning, you do not grow because learning is growing, right? You say, oh, I don't have the money to invest in a program. You're being at this position. So always and always the problem will be higher and you'll always stay in that position. So you need to figure out a way to come to a higher level and automatically all problems become smaller. How many of you understand this? Type yes if you do, and then type down what you see on your screen towards the last, that I'm always and always bigger or greater than the problem. And that's the mindset. That's what we want. Absolutely great. Yes. Thank you so much for all those who are typing it into the chat box because I want you to type it out. I'm always bigger. I love how Anupama has used capital letters, always bigger than the problem itself. If you want to take a screenshot or if you have written notes of it, absolutely great. I'll give you 5 seconds for this. I'm always bigger than the problem. I love it. Great. Now, this is a mindset that we want. This is a new mindset, new belief, which comes from being in this environment. And that is where your new beliefs, new thoughts, new feelings will lead to you taking a decision and having a new result. But now is the time for you to actually take an action and reach towards the part wherein you can hold that flag of financial freedom. And this is where I want all of you to take an action when an opportunity comes your way. Now you have the new belief through this session. Now you have that feeling, I am the bee in your life, right? Do not wait for a problem to come, an emergency to come and be the bee. I am here for you. Now it's the time for you to decide, take an action and bridge out to the outer world, because that is what is required. This is your time to skill in the gap that you had, fill in it with the bridge that is going to come in front of you as an opportunity. Now, what is this opportunity and what decision do you have to make? You remember when we started the day today, I said I have three promises for you. Number one, that time will fly by like this. Have I kept my first promise? Look at your clocks. We're closing in on the end of the session in the next 15 odd minutes. Did I keep my promise? Did time fly like this for you? Type yes if you did. Thank you. So I kept my first promise, right? Thank you so much for letting me know that. My second promise to you was that you will get a lot of value from this session and there'll be a lot of bulb on moments. Were there a lot of value that you received from the session and were there a bulb on moment? If yes, type V in the chat box. V means value. Did you get a lot of value from this session? Yes, thank you, Pallavi. Thank you, Devika. I love it. Thank you, Asa. That's great. The third one, remember I said that we at Success Gyan help you with your next step, right? We just don't give you hope and then we raise our hands and go away. No, I'm here until you win, because that's how we win. That's our tagline, right? And that's exactly why now I'm going to help you with your next step towards achieving your financial freedom. And that will help you to make a decision. But it's your time to take action right now. So, how many of you are ready to take some action for yourself to become financially free? Type I am in. I am in means I am in, Abhay. I'm ready to do whatever it takes because I want to be in a better position. Now, I know some of you are asking me initially, right, that at different stages, and somebody asked the question, so Abhay, how much money you have? And whatever programs you're talking about, did it actually help you? I'll tell all of you as I go ahead. But remember, today we learned about awareness. Now you know why you are the way you are. You learned about clarity. What do you want to have in your life? You know the formula. It starts with beliefs, the conditioning, being in this environment. And now the last one is your action. Write this down. The action that you need to do on how you can do this and how you can go to the financial freedom point. A lot of you ask this, right? Yes, Abhay, but how can I do it? Well, the answer to this is very simple. It's your time to take action now, because I present to you the best and the easiest money management system program called as the Millionaire Mind Intensive. Now, let me know in the chat box, is there anyone who has done Millionaire Mind Intensive before? It's a 3-day physical in-person program. Type yes if you have done. Type no if you haven't done. Let me see. Ashish says yes. A lot of you are saying no, 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 no. Some of you are saying yes, 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 yes. Thank you. Absolutely great. Would it be okay if I help you with your next step and tell you in the next few minutes about what this program is and how you should be a part of it so that you achieve your financial freedom quicker? Do I have your permission to share some details about this so that you can take an informed decision? Type yes in the chat box if you're willing to do so. Yes, some of you are like, please let me know. Yes, yes, yes. I want this, right? But I'm going to share all the details. Then an opportunity is going to come and present in front of you. I want you to grab it with both hands and be a part of this. Because for the ones who have done the MMI, let me know in the chat box. Now, I don't even know who you are, right? But if you have done MMI, let me know in the chat box. Was it worth it? That's all which I want to ask you. For those who have done, just type it out in the chat box. Was it worth it? And for those who haven't done, should they do it? What is your take? If you recommend, type recommend. If you think it is worth it, type worth it. MMI is worth it, worth it, worth it. Of course, extraordinary. I'm reading out for you. Don't worry. It's recommended. It's extraordinary. Absolutely great. Thank you. Now, what is this MMI? It's a special program designed by T. Harbecker and it's executed by Success Gyan along with Success Resources, which are the highest seminar promoters in the world. And in this program, you primarily learn three things. Firstly, I'm going to say everything about it, so don't worry. Just stay focused for the next few minutes and you'll get all the doubts cleared. This is a 3-day in-person program that starts at 9 o'clock in the morning and ends at 6 o'clock in the evening. Now, where is this program? And the biggest question which all of you will have, Let me know in the chat box. What's the biggest question that all of you we have? Let me know in the chat box because I know what it is. Investment, price. I can see all of that coming in. Thank you. So be patient with me for the next 5 to 7 minutes and I'll answer each and everything of what it is that you will get when you come at the Millionaire Mind Intensive. Okay. But let's first understand what is this program. When I attended this program, I was in that state of 7,000 rupees a month, didn't have enough money in the bank balance, had to borrow money for this program. And I went, why? Because my friend suggested these three things about the program to me. Now, let me know if you are in that particular state. Okay. Number one, he said, this program will teach you about money management. In my head, I'm going, hey, I have 7,000 rupees in my account. I have no money. Why should I learn how to manage money? Let there be money, then I will learn money management. How many of you are thinking like that, like how I thought? Type me in the chat box. Yeah, that's what I thought. Absolutely great. Kapil, Rochelle, Chandresh, Divya, thank you so much. I was exactly like you at that point with my question to my friend, hey, boss, I don't have any money. How will I get the money? No, let there be money, then I can manage. And my friend said this, hey, you know what? It's not that you will have money and then you will manage money. It's that you need to start learning to manage money with what you have, and then you will have the money which you want. So it's actually reverse. You manage 1 rupees, 10 rupees, 100 rupees, that will lead to earning 100,000, 10,000 lakh, 10 lakh. How many of you understand the difference between the two? If you get it, type IGI, say I get it. Yes, thank you for typing in true, IGI. Absolutely great. So that was the first thing he said. Second, he said, you will learn multiple sources of income. And I was looking at him and I was like, boss, यहाँ पे एक source of income नहीं है. I don't have enough one source of income. What will I do with multiple sources of income? It is not for me. How many of you are thinking like that? Type me in the chat box. If you are thinking multiple sources of income, यार यहाँ पे एक अच्छा हो जाए. Why you need multiple, right? How many of you are thinking like that? Thank you, Veena, Anupma, Taran, Asad. I love it. Thank you for being honest. And I was the same. And that's when he said that if you just have one source of income, none of us are going to have pension at the end, right? So how are you going to earn money after your best of your health is done? What happens then? You need multiple sources of income so that you can earn more within the time space that you have. And I was like, okay, fair enough. And then he said the third thing, which I loved. He said this, and when you come at MMI, the third thing that you will love is you will learn how to generate passive income. And I was looking at him and thinking, hey, I don't have active income. What will I do with passive income? It is not for me. How many of you are thinking like that? Type me in the chat box. Yeah, Kanika is smiling. She's laughing, right? She's like, ha ha ha. Me. Niharika is like, me. Passive income chodo. Active income to hona chahiye. I should have a better active income. And I was in the same state. So I looked at him and I'm smiling. And he says, you know what? Your passive income, when it takes care of your expenses, your active income becomes secondary. Whether if it's 100,000, 10,000 lakh or crore, it won't matter because your passive income takes care of your expenses. And I was like, okay. And with all of that, I entered into MMI. And that is what you will learn at MMI, the things which I just said, multiple sources of income. How do you invest in the right things? How do you grow your money with money management? And how do you generate passive income? Winning the money game, multiplying your income with the passive income that comes to you and financial freedom. Today, if we go out somewhere, when I was in Europe, I didn't have to think twice before doing something because I had planned it in that way. The system gives you that, and that's the power. How many of you agree that in reality, people may or may not work, but systems work? How many of you agree to that? Type system in the chat box if you agree to that. That if there's a management system wherein you put money and it gets sorted, then that works. Thank you all for typing in system. That's great. So that's what you learn at the Millionaire Mind Intensive, the easiest money management system. By the way, all the success Gyan trainers which you have ever seen on any of the programs, some of you might have been at change makers, some of you have been in different rooms, right? Have you heard names of, and let me know in the chat box, of a person called as Rajiv Talreja? How many of you have heard of him? Type me in the chat box if you have. Yeah, thank you. Have you heard of Dr. Meghna Dikshit? Type me if you have heard. Thank you. Have you heard of someone like, say, Chinna? Have you heard of someone like, maybe Siddharth Rajshekhar? How many of you have heard of Siddharth Rajshekhar? Yeah, a lot of you. Me. Pooja Puneet. Absolutely correct. You take anyone's name, Prachi Mayekar. You take anyone's name. Yes, a lot of you are coming in. Yeah, from the ILH, right? Which is Siddharth's community. Absolutely great. Harvey, she's a part of this. Rajiv is my sales coach. Thank you, Dheeraj. Absolutely great. All of the names which you have just mentioned, all of them are graduates of the Millionaire Mind Intensive. You ask them this question, should we do it? They will, from their sleep, get up and say, do it. No matter what it takes, you do it. And that's what it is. This is what it is. Okay. Very, very important and very, very crucial. So when is it happening? Make a note of it right now. Yeah. Surendra also, right? Yes. MB Priyang. Yes. Ask anyone, Shweta, ask Imran, anyone who's a part of Success Gyan community, and they'll say so. Thaddeus as well. Absolutely great. So when is the MMI happening? MMI is happening 2 times in the next few months, which is coming up. First, it's happening in Mumbai from 3rd and 5th of May, 2024, morning 9 o'clock to 6 p.m. in the evening at the Hotel Sahara Star in Mumbai. So take a snapshot of this and please go ahead and write it down if you haven't. But this is where it is happening in Mumbai. So this is the first one. If you got the details for the first program, the Mumbai one, please type yes in the chat box so that I can move to the second program and the next city where it is happening. So first, it's happening in Mumbai, 3rd to 5th of May 2024, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Hotel Sahara Star, 3 days. Now I'll come to the point, which is the next city and what all is included in your investment. The second city which it is happening is in Chennai, and it's happening from 28th to 30th of June in 2024. It's happening from morning 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the evening, and it's happening at Hotel Feathers, which is near the airport in Chennai. So these are the 2 locations for which registrations are now open. Now, some of you might be, yeah, okay, Narcissus says I work at Feathers. That's great. So make sure you register and you come and attend as a participant and you're going to love it. Thank you, Roshan. Great. How many of you are glad that it's happening in Mumbai and Chennai? How many of you are glad about that? Just type me in the chat box if it is. Great. Thank you so much. Now, you know why I'm asking you, are you glad? I had to travel to Chennai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Delhi, entire country, taking trains at that point because I can't afford flights, sitting in a non-reserved seat because I can't afford anything about it. And then I had to go and learn. And that's what made me come in this position today. So if you think, Chennai, no, that's not my city. Oh, Mumbai, that's a little far. Trust me, you are blessed that it is happening in India. A lot of us had to actually travel it outside of India to attend it as well. So it's a blessing it's coming in Mumbai or Chennai. And if I was you, I wouldn't think twice. I would grab onto this opportunity. So would you like to know what happens in this program and what are the things that you need to go ahead with and your investment? How many of you want to know that? Type me in the chat box if you are interested in knowing about that. Absolutely great. Yes. Thank you so much. So again, 2 MMIs, 1 Mumbai from 3rd to 5th. Person program, not on Zoom, in person, and you will be a part of it in the 3 days. Now, these are the 2 dates. Here's a glimpse. How many of you want to see a tiny glimpse of what happens at MMI? And trust me, it's crazy. What I'm saying, it's an understatement. If you want a glimpse, type I want in the chat box. Let me see, I want. I'm about to show you a glimpse and it's crazy. Trust me, the best that you will ever see. So here's on your screen. Thank you so much, Aarti, Chandresh. Here's what you see on your screen, a glimpse of what happens at MMI. Saw a glimpse and it is something that you feel you want as well. How many of you want that? Type I want in the chat box. You saw the energy right now, right? And it is absolutely crazy. And trust me, when you are at MMI, you are going to see yourself being in a different world because that's exactly what it is. And you know what's the best way to attend the MMI? It is with your partner or with your family, with your spouse or with your children. Anyone who's above the age of 18, we invite them to this program because a lot of activities around based on experiential learning. Why? Because you remember when I started the day, I said we followed the tagline for Ghadi detergent, which is Pehle istemal kare, fir vishwas kare. And that's exactly what it is at this. Okay. So what is about the program that I'll tell you right now? When you come to the program, you are going to register today for the program for an investment of what we called as a gold ticket. Now, why we say a gold ticket? Everybody type it out in the chat box. Gold ticket is nothing but gold equals to PI. Type PI. Gold is a color of passive income. Why? Because if you have seen, if you have bought gold, gold has passed 70,000 in the last few days, right? And maybe a year back, it was way less. So it's nothing but a passive income. And that's why exactly you're all welcome with the gold ticket. You might wonder, Abhay, is there a silver ticket or a bronze ticket? Well, no, we only have a gold ticket. Why? Because we believe in passive income. So that's why